Hey guys, this is Hunter Levine, and thank you for checking out the Captain's Collective podcast, brought to you by Skinny Water Culture, Yeti Coolers, Turtle Box Audio, Florida Fishing Products, and the Drifter Fish Club. Today we got a special round 2 episode with my friend Vince Stegura of Skinny Water Culture. It is May, and one of the things that is often talked about in May is mental health and Mental Health Awareness Month. And in this podcast, we dive into some of Vince's most recent travel, as well as his history of struggling with his own mental health challenges and what it's looked like for him to reach the other side, find some victory, and how ultimately improving his mental health has helped him better appreciate and love his time on the water. Really hope that you guys get something from this podcast. I'm so grateful for Vince, his friendship, and his willingness just to sit down and have an honest conversation about his struggles and what has helped him over the years. If you guys are interested in traveling with us, check out drifterfishclub.com. We got all sorts of cool hosted trips coming up. And for those of you who are maybe struggling with mental health, or maybe you haven't reached out, I want to encourage you to do that. Seek professional help, talk to some friends, and we want to be better, not just on the water, but also in life. So we hope that this conversation helps you. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Captain's Collective.
Sure. Again. All right. Thanks for sitting down for round 2. We've probably hung out 50, 60 times since we've done the podcast, if not more. And we're just now getting around to a round 2.
Yep.
But
trying for a while.
We finally got to the point where you got some pretty fun stuff too, like some new stuff going on in your life, like a lot of things to catch everybody up on. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was your most recent trip to Mexico, man, because you guys crushed it. You had an awesome trip.
Yeah, we did. That was a super fun trip. We went to Espiritu Santo Bay, and we went to Brian, Jill, and Chris Owens have a lodge there, and it's like half lodge, half camping.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone for sure, but the fishery there is just insane. And last year when we went, we had a tropical storm over us the entire time, so we literally never saw the sun. And it's like a world-class permit fishery. But even not seeing the sun that whole time we were there, we all wanted to go back and see it. And, and the permit were there, and my whole group caught fish, and it was phenomenal, man.
Yeah, and you know, I interviewed Brian probably 4 or 5 years ago, and like got a chance to fish with him, which is super cool, dude. And like, you know, you were saying this is kind of something they've really been developing for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, I gotta say that.
It's something around there, and it's like an old lobster village. And I mean, what's kind of the general layout of where you're staying, and you know, kind of what the experience is like? Because you said it's kind of like camping, which I think is cool.
Yeah, so like you would drive north from Mahawal through this. I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, but Sian Khan, like ecosystem, biosphere, whatever it is. And you go to the north point of Punta Herrero, where there's a few lodges there, you know, like 3 or 4. But you then jump on the Ponga skiffs and go across the bay to this co-op lobster village that is, it's not occupied all the time, you know, so it's probably 10 or 12 like cabanas. And I think he only uses it when it's not lobster season.
Yeah.
So there's like really no one living there. There's 2 or 3, maybe four people that live there total. And they actually work, you know, on helping the lodge, cooking meals and all that stuff. And you're sleeping in, you know, there's no AC or anything like that. You're on cots with mosquito nets. And for my group, for the people that, you know, I brought there, it's a dream. It's like, that's exactly what we wanted. You know, it's not bougie by any means, but like the fishing is just so good. And like I said, last year we didn't get the permit fish, and this year it was basically, that's all we did was permit fish, because there was a lot of fish around. We had clear sun every single day. We had wind. At night, you know, when you come back, the guides drop you off. They go back to the mainland, and then it's just you and the kind of the house people there. And like, just an example of the fun stuff we did, like, I think it was the second night we put cut bluefish or cut blue runners out. And it's like, I guess it's a lobster village, so that bay's full of lobster. Well, we were fishing like 7 feet, and we're just on the dock. It's an old decrepit dock. having beers and, hoping something happens. And one of the guys hooked into a 70-pound Cubera snapper.
Dude, that photo was amazing.
I mean,
like, yeah.
Everyone, I think most of the group, maybe not Josh, the guy that caught that, but I think most of the group already got a permit. It was like day 2. So it was like all the pressure was off. And then for that to happen, it was just ridiculous, man. I mean, there's no place in the world you can do that. That's like fish of a lifetime, happened for 5 guys out down there multiple times.
Yeah. Those Cubera snapper too, like we caught one in Costa Rica, and they're just like the gnarliest, coolest fish. Yeah. They can do these basically European mounts on them too, where you can see all the teeth, and like, I mean, it's like a really, really unique way to display a fish.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it. And
so cool looking.
Yeah, like unfortunately for us, like the day that we were able to get a Cubera up high, like it was just too rough for us to be able to catch it on fly.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't care. I was like, I just wanted someone to catch it. And actually my dad, who, my dad, like he does a lot of mangrove snapper guiding and everything. He was getting his tail kicked by Cubera snapper.
Yeah.
And he was like, he left Costa Rica like, I have to go back only to catch a Cubera. But that video was so sweet because like, I mean, that's a huge fish to pull up to a dock.
Yeah, I mean, pulling it up to a dock and then like, it's like 6-7 feet there at the most.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're a deep water fish from what I understand for the most part. I think they peruse the shallows for lobster. But when it got near the dock, that thing went for every piling. Like every piling. It was just, and it was just huge. And I think we kept the village people that are there, I think we kept them awake for the next like hour and a half. We were all just screaming and hooting and hollering, and we heard about that the next day a little bit. But it was like, that trip was just, it's what you dream of when you go on these trips, and everything came together for everyone. So
yeah. When you look back at like, I know that you've done Oman, I've obviously, done the Pelican, you've done Mexico, like, when you look back, like, what do you feel like you gained the most from having those types of trips?
I mean, for me, it's like the camaraderie, it's like the people you go with and the bonding, and, sometimes you there's a little friction or whatever, and just all those things add to the experience. And then, like the food in Mexico, the food in Oman, really the food, I'm a foodie guy.
Yeah.
And, I love that the food's natural everywhere you go, when you go abroad. And I don't know, just I feel really lucky to be able to be in a position where I get to go on these trips and get to experience it, because like if you don't go, you don't know,
Yeah.
And it's just really nice to add that to your, I don't know, to your life experience. Like,
yeah. I mean, on the boat today, you were talking about Skinny Water Culture is 20 years.
Almost, yeah.
Almost
We're like,
20 years.
I think 18 years or something.
You're approaching 20 years. And, for those who maybe don't know all of Vince's story, you can go back and listen to our first podcast. But, there's a time in your life where you're just dreaming of starting this company while you work for pods, and you're sitting at a desk, and like, you're not a trust fund kid. Like, you didn't have a ton. And you just started this company with this dream, and then, fast forward nearly 20 years later, and you're getting the chance to, build a brand and build a product that you're really proud of. And you're also getting this chance to have this community of people around it and go experience. Like, as you like look back and reflect on, approaching 20 years with Skinny Water Culture, and then also being in this season of life where you're getting to do some hosted travel, like, how do you feel like, what's the main emotion? What are the main thoughts that come to mind?
Really just gratitude, like it's manufacturing clothing, and, everyone thinks they can start a t-shirt company and they have great ideas or whatever, but there's just so much more to it than that. And we've seen companies come and go and whatnot. And, we're just grateful that we're still around, and that, we're still kind of being innovative. I feel like we got our best stuff on the horizon, Chase and I we just went through a whole development season basically. And, that's the funnest part for me. But, yeah, I'm really grateful. I work with my wife. I don't know her as only my wife anymore. She's been, we've been in business. We're almost 20, this is our 20th anniversary coming up in October. And we've done SWC for almost 18 years now. I don't even know how long, but 08.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's my kids grew up in it, and going to doing all the events with us and stuff like that. It's just part of my life. And I'm really grateful that it's not a, clock in, clock out type of job because, I like to work and I can work whenever I want, more or less. And, and I love what I do. Like I absolutely love what I do. And then the fishing part of it, I started it because I wanted to be able to fish more. I wanted to not be at a day job. I didn't want to be a guide. So the fact that, it took this long really for that to happen as much as it's happening. But like, I've traveled the last 8 weeks in a row doing tournaments or whatever that we're part of. And, I'm just overwhelmed with gratefulness. That's all I can say. It's, I'm almost to the point now where like I have 2 weeks where I'm not doing anything and I just want to be home and around the family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
No, I think everybody that works with Skinny Water Culture and is, a part of that community, like loves and respects Jen and knows like, she's just like, both of you guys are such, I think like catalytic people. Like you guys are really good at introducing people to cool people. You guys are really good at, following up with people and checking in. And you guys have built a reputation of just actually caring about people, not like if you're a part of Skinny Water Culture, you're part of the community, like you're not just a means to the ends of trying to get the brand out there. Like Jen is like, how are your girls? Like, you care about people. And I think that's really, really powerful. And it's such like every year when I come to the Christmas party, it's like, it's so cool to see the impact that you guys have been able to make on your community. And then just to think about too, like to me, there's something that I think, there's a lot of cool shirts and hats and sun hoodies and, but to me, like knowing that you're a part of a company that cares about the people in the community and wants to give back. And, that to me is, I think what's most exciting about the whole story of Skinny Water Culture. And another cool thing, that we want to talk about is, we're recording this in May and, you have over the 17 years that you've been doing Skinny Water Culture too, like you still, you get to go fish and you get to go to Omaha and you get to do cool stuff and people can see that, but like you're still a human being who has struggles and trials and is going through your own journey. And one of the things I know that we wanted to talk about was, we're in May and it's like Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think that for a lot of people, they struggle with these mental health challenges and struggle with just, seasons of depression, or they struggle with anxiety or whatever their battle may be. And then they look online and all they see is like, check out my snook, it's like there's not a lot of transparency and, that type of thing. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about like, as you've gone through the past 18 years, what your journey's been like and how you've kind of found some victory in that?
Yeah, for sure. It's something I don't really mind talking about because, I'm just like an open book anyways. It's just the way I am. I don't know how to like really pretend in that sense. And, so everyone sees the smiles and the fish and the good stuff. And obviously I like smiling. I like having a good time. I'm known for having a good time with all my friends, but there was kind of like a dark cloud that followed me as far back as I can almost remember. I want to say middle school is when I started kind of having some symptoms of depression. And it kind of like, it escalated quickly and it never went away. I just, I could be, it's kind of hard to talk about, to be honest with you, but I really do want to talk about it because I know how many people suffer from this kind of thing and that they never open up. They never talk to anyone. And, I made a post. I went through so I don't know, where do I start this? So going through the depression, it was like, I could have an epic day. And this is like an every single day of my life thing, until 2022. where we could have the best day. You and I probably had these days actually, because, we've had a lot of good times, but where everything's going right. And then, I would look over and see while we're talking, like, rafters, in that shed right there, and just be like, that'd be a good place for you to hang yourself from. Like, this voice in my head would tell me that. And like, you're worthless. Like, it's almost like, I want to say demons, that just followed me around. And, I constantly had bouts of, I mean, almost daily bouts of feeling worthless, hopeless, completely hopeless. And it was like an unbearable grief that I've always had. And it manifested a lot in business relationships and stuff like that, where I would just act out. And it was really just because I was like hurt, and I tried everything. I did psych meds and, talked to, the wife's like, you got to talk to somebody, you can't go around being like this, because a lot of days it'd be worse. And then, around 2020, it got really bad just because the whole world was polarized. And, it's just, I internalized a lot more. Than I developed an anxiety when I was around people, with the mask and all that stuff. And it was just, the whole world was bizarre to me. And, most of the meds I took and stuff like that, I would say all of them ultimately might have worked for a little bit, but then I would really have worse, thoughts of suicide. And, I was suicidal every day of my life, more or less. And she told me about this therapy that she found, where it's like a TENS machine, that you put on your muscles to kind of stimulate them. And that's done electronically. And so this is like a TENS machine that goes on your forehead, and it's magnetic. So rather than electrical, it's magnetic. And the way they described it to me, and I think this was probably my last hope for trying, because I felt like a science experiment all the time. And the doctor said, when somebody's depressed and they die and we do a CAT scan on them or whatever, they look just like everyone else. But when they are alive and you do a CAT scan on them, we learned that there's a part of your frontal lobe that's just kind of shut off. So when he explained that to me, he's like, and we're going to turn it back on with this magnetic therapy. So when he explained that to me, I was like, I'm definitely willing to try that. That sounds like, so I would go, it was 35 sessions, I want to say. Insurance covered it. It's FDA approved since 2008. The place where I went is actually the guy that invented the therapy. And I actually don't remember his name, but it's in Seminole here by me. And you do a 5-question questionnaire before every session. How do you feel? All this, and it's 1 to 5. And every, I took that very seriously.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know if this is working. Like, how do I really feel? And there was no way I could put less than a 5, for the first 10 sessions. Like, there was no way. I was like, yeah, I'm 100% feel like I want to, do something bad to myself or whatever today. And then like by the 11th and 12th session, I was like 3, like it's at a 3, like, wow, this is working.
Yeah.
And then by the 14th, 15th session, it was like 0, like 1 or whatever the lowest was on all of them. And I was like, I couldn't believe it when I was punching in the answers. I was like, that's really like, I can't imagine having, and it basically, I share it every year on my, in my memories on Facebook when it comes up, and tell people about it. Excuse me. And once I realized it was working back then, I shared a post about it. It's like me sitting in a Frankenstein chair and having this thing. And you wouldn't believe the amount of people that reached out to me. And all my friends are, at this point, foosball a little more, but like fishing people that I know. And a lot of people reached out to me on the backside, and they were like, hey man, can you tell me more about it or whatever? And I've probably watched 10 people go through it and get cured, because I would say I'm cured now. I don't have any of those symptoms. I can't even remember how bad the grief was, but the word was grief, it was just like unbearable grief every day, even when I was happy. And I was, throughout all those years, I was laughing and whatever with all my friends, and it was genuine, but it was just like, there was like a bipolar kind of thing to it. So,
yeah, I mean, I remember when you know, at the time that you had posted that, like we had been working together some, but like I didn't know you that well. And
Yeah.
when the pandemic came, it was like harder for everybody to travel. So you and I didn't get to like travel and hang out. Like we weren't getting to hang out at events and stuff. And I remember just thinking, man, like that's really vulnerable. Like I know it's a buzzword, but like people like vulnerable, but
for sure.
But I remember just being like, or maybe a better way to say is like, oh, that's really raw. Like that's real. Like,
Right.
And I think that sometimes people like want to, you know, maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe they feel like it's a sign of weakness or it's taboo or whatever. But there's also, you know, like I know for me, like that was an impactful thing for me, not because I wanted to seek that particular path, but like because I was like, oh, like it's okay to be honest about your struggles.
Yeah.
And I think that like the world would be a better place. And certainly the fishing world would be a better place if people could be more honest about, you know, their highs and lows and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And honestly, like a lot of people who just go, hey man, me too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I wanted to be honest about it. It was like once I knew the therapy was working, it was like such a burden lifted off of me that I was like, I somewhat regretted sharing that first post because I shared that and so many people were like, I'm praying for you, and I'm like, no, I think I'm good now. Like, I'm telling you this works. And then, industry people, they'd see me that I don't know that well or whatever. And they'd be like, hey man, you good?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. What's up? Like, they're like, no. Like, are you good, man? Everything okay? And it doesn't even feel like they're being genuine. It's almost like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I've learned as an adult, like obviously, like you know this, like I've gone through a really hard year in my life. And I think that like as an adult, one thing that I tell myself a lot is that people just don't know what the freaking do.
Yeah.
And they just like, and a lot of times we think he did this because of this, or she said this because of this. And like 50% of the time, if not more, it's like somebody's just like, I don't know what to do. So it's like before we get really quick to like assume motive. But I think the point of that is like, yeah, like I think that like people are looking for like in skinny water culture, like when I go to the Christmas party, like people are looking for community, looking for friendships. Like when you go on a trip, like, you know, people are looking on these hosted travel trips, like people are looking for friendship and community and like people that they can celebrate the moment that they catch their first permit.
Yeah.
And mourn when somebody loses a loved one or is going through a hard time or whatever it may be. And a question I had about that I don't think you and I talked about was like, you know, because you were doing a lot of cool trips and like, you know, getting a chance to fish with a lot of great people and just see cool fisheries. And people all the time ask me, they're like, oh, how'd you hear about this? And like 50% of the time, if I know something cool, if I know a cool person, it's because Vince told me, like, because you just have been around meeting cool people and you have a really good radar. And, you know, I'm curious, like on the back end of it, how has your mental health affected the way that you experience fishing? Do you enjoy it more? Like what feels different?
So you got the guy out there that's like, this is my church, and I understand that, and you know, just getting out there it's good for everyone, but I it's almost a separate thing for me. It's almost just like when I'm fishing, I'm not sad ever. You know, it doesn't matter what's happening. I don't feel upset, but immediately when I get back in my car after fishing and, you know, driving home or whatever, that's when all those thoughts would creep up or whatever. I mean, if you remember to schedule I know this one was tough to schedule, but our first one was tough. And I came up like 2 or 3 times to do it and we didn't do it. And that was because I wanted to not do it because that depression was there. That's before I did this therapy.
Yeah.
So it would creep in, while we're fishing, but really I feel it afterwards. So I don't know. I think it's really good. Another thing that's helped me is nature oriented is birds. Like, it was around the time that I got the therapy that I just started taking walks and looking at birds. And I don't know where that came from. Like everybody, there's that meme,
like the middle-aged man.
Yeah.
There's just a day you wake up and you're like, birds. Yeah, they've been around me my whole life.
I go everywhere with my phone, which has a couple apps for me.
Yeah.
eBird and Merlin and my binoculars. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's my attention is on birds a lot, but I don't know how fishing affected the depression or anything. I'm sure it helped. I'm sure that's all it did was help, other than lack of sleep a lot of times, because I was going fish hard in those days. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like in the seasons where I come off the tracks a little bit and I'm not in a healthy place, I feel like when there's this thing, a saying that like is like, such and such is a terrible God but a great gift, or a great gift but a terrible God. It's like if you're like trying to find your purpose and your meaning and your joy in fishing, like when you get on the boat like today, like your stakes are so high. Like you're in your temple, man. And like and it's like, I think that they're, for me, like when I start to get in unhealthy, like come off the tracks a little bit, like, internally, I almost feel like I don't enjoy it as much because it's not like being serious, being focused, wanting to catch fish. It's like, I think that I'm attributing too much identity to it, or like I'm struggling too much. I feel like sometimes like the lighter you hold something, the more you can enjoy it sometimes.
For sure. And that's how I mean, you fish with me, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good time. Like I always have a good time fishing, like no matter what's going on. I mean, I don't take it that seriously. I don't obsess over tarpon. I don't obsess over permit. I love catching trout on jigs. I really love it. So
yeah, I mean, and I think too, like you're a great angler, and like people who fish with you would say like that people are stoked when, like anytime I've ever fished with you and a captain, they're stoked for you to be on the boat. Like it's like you're gonna, you'll blow shots sometime
for sure.
But, I mean, you're not a bad angler.
Right.
And you're not like up there lollygagging. Like you're focused the whole time.
Oh, I want to catch fish. I'm competitive in that sense, like I don't want to catch fish to beat the other guy on the boat. I want to meet that fish, you know what I mean? And they're hard to catch sometimes. So it's, I want to put the best presentation I can out there. And I kind of, I guess like competitively, I guess it's me versus that fish. And I like that challenge, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, for me too, like you were talking about just wanting to have a good time. Like I like being around different people and that have different styles of fishing. And like some people are, some people are like really, really intense, and some people are, really talkative. And I think that like for me, like the main reason I'm out there is to challenge myself, to see cool things in nature, and to bond with people. It's like one of the favorite things that I like about the style of fishing that we do is like it's interactive with each other. Like I spot a fish or you spot a fish, and you can blow a cast, so there's a whole conversation. Where should I put that? And I mean, there's like a lot of those today. There's like banter, like just in the front of it. Yeah. But I think that like that there doesn't, some people can take themselves so serious that they rob themselves of relationships, and I don't think that's a good trade in the long run.
Yeah, I got a little side quest story about that. Is when before social media, I was on fishing forums. So when I was at my day job, I lived on fishing forums. I, read everything. I interacted. It was a really great place to build a community. And that's where, really we started. But one year I was doing I was very active on it. So it was like December 15th or so. And I was like, I'm going to do a post about everyone I fished with this year. And I did like a little blurb for every single person. I remembered every trip. Not every detail, and I got to the end of it. I'm like, I wonder how many people had it. It was 63 people. And by the time I was done counting it, I was like, I might want to fish with 2 of these people again ever. And it wasn't because like, they weren't good fishermen. Like it had nothing to do with that. It was just like, they kind of didn't have the same goal going out fishing that I had, which was like, I was just so stoked to go out there. And they'd be like, if the fishing wasn't good, they just didn't enjoy it, or they felt like they let me down or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, it taught me a lot about fishing. That's where I learned the most about fishing is probably reading that post and just going, that wasn't what it was about. That's not.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely I think that one of the best things that obviously everybody says this, iron sharpens iron, like that's the old Bible verse, but like people talk about if you want to get better at something, surround yourself with, try to be the worst angler on the boat as much as you can and just keep getting around people. And as it's like, I think that's a great way to progress and have fun, but also to try to put yourself with people who are going to make you a better holistic person too. I don't want my kids to grow up and be like, my dad was a complete a-hole. but he was a really good angler.
You're a great
Like,
fisherman.
yeah, congrats. Like, yeah, that's like,
Totally.
like in 100 years from now, they're going to be like, who was a great angler? Yeah.
Right.
But it's like, I hope my like great grandkids are like telling stories of, just the good times that I had with my family. I'm curious about too, like, so we talked about like how has mental health affected your fishing? Like, today, like you got on the boat and you like had your binoculars.
Yeah.
Why did I say that weird? I saw
Binoculars.
buyer. But binoculars.
Yeah.
But like how is birding tied into? Do you feel like it's made you notice more things on the water? Like I'm curious. Like
I would say definitely. Like I would say definitely because the way it started was I was really stressed out at work. It was around like probably I don't know a little after COVID, but it was just nothing seemed to be going right, and everything was a struggle. And I there's nothing I could do about it. There's there's so many factors at play, and one of the guys I work with, I still work with him, and he just like told me one day, he's like, just don't worry about it anymore. He's like, just don't even worry about it. He's like, just you're getting a paycheck every week and whatever, and he's like, just get that and be happy you're doing that because most people aren't in your shoes right now. That's not how they get a paycheck. And I just decided that day, literally, that I'm going to start walking the park for mental health reasons, and I started walking a park near my house, and I don't know if I never heard birds before, or what, but I just heard these birds in these trees. I'm like, where is that bird? And it made me go look for it. And it just made me, I guess I didn't grow up hunting, but people that hunt notice stuff like that,
Yeah.
So I think it got me a little more dialed into nature. And now, like, we have a bird feeder in front of our kitchen window. Jen every day is, here, oh, come here, honey. There's a red-bellied woodpecker, whatever. And I just think it's so cool. She's really into owls right now. We found some screech owls the other day, and I think she's going into the rabbit hole a little bit. I wanted to buy her some binoculars for Mother's Day, but that would have been like a gift for myself. It'd be like buying her a bowling ball, like. And so I didn't, but I think I think she's getting into it. And my daughter's sailor too. She's all over birds. She's like, Daddy, bird. I'm like, that's a blue jay.
I like being on the boat with guys who know their birds. Like I always feel like, dang, I always am like, dang, I should know my birds better. But then like when it comes down to it, it's like I just haven't got the bug yet.
You're just not there yet. Yeah,
not there yet.
It's a stage of fatherhood or life.
I mean, we got like Wes Talon he's like a member of Drifter and everything, and like he's like hardcore, like
he's a naturalist.
I
text him like, I don't know. I know that he likes me and whatever. I don't know him super well, so I'm always like, man, should I just ask him like how I do this in eBird or what bird this might have been? And he's really good.
Yeah, I'm excited. He's coming to the Bahamas with us, and I'm excited just to like get my like bird.
Yeah, he's more than birds though. Yeah, he's literally everything.
Yeah, and I think like to me like it's cool because you notice things that maybe been right in front of you the whole time. Like it's interesting. Like I did an interview with Casey Anderson, and Casey, like, and Casey did my bird tattoo, full circle. But like Casey was talking about like when he had overcome addiction, like he stepped outside and he remembered the day that like he felt the sun again.
Yeah,
and there's like these things in life that like whether it's anxiety, depression, like a lot of times it's shame. Like people carry shame and guilt. Like,
sure.
Like I've wrestled a lot with like shame and guilt the past year. And like when you're carrying that and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, like there's a really cool bird. That bird's probably been there freaking every day.
That's what
like,
did it for me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I think like on the water, like how much can I soak in? Like how much can I appreciate? Like, we were looking at the sharks today, like not the target, but still just like, oh, that's super cool, Like,
well, also like I don't tarpon fish migratory tarpon a whole lot in the last few years. I don't, we have jet skis, we have all this stuff by me. It's kind of unappealing for me to go out. And I went out with Court the other day and my buddy Alec, and just seeing those fish, man, come by in a big string. There's nothing like it. Like there is nothing like, they're giants and they're just so chill, and there's nothing like them. They're so cool, man. But
that's what I was saying. Like they're such a casual, like there's a casualness about them a lot of times that like doesn't look like a lot of other. Redfish can kind of be like, they can kind of be like a little anxious. Kind of like
yeah.
Your tail in, their head down, they're cruising down a bank, and then like all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm looking for this 150-pound fish, that's can jump 8 feet in the air. And you're like, and he's just like, he looks like a SpongeBob character, just like, whoop, so like gliding and, but like, how much can you, I think the people that I like fishing with are like really good at what they do. And they like, when the moment comes, they're serious, like they're locked in. They're not like, they're paying attention, but they're also like, there's a childlikeness about them in a good way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, a curiosity is on fire.
They're not old salty when you blow your cast. They more laugh at you, and that's what you need to get yelled at for missing a fish is kind of weird. But I mean, I get it. I would yell at somebody like jokingly, Yeah. The childlikeness, I really like that.
Yeah, I think like a curiosity too. Why'd they do that? What are they doing? What's this? Look at this. Like, why is this stingray doing this thing? Like, I mean, I just like I like being with people that like, I'm like, oh, like they're kind of amping me up. They're gassing me up a little bit about the situation. And, I don't know, like, and I can appreciate different things about different people.
Yeah.
Like I fish with a variety of different personalities, and, I can appreciate different things. I'm curious too, like, so for you, like, since I've known you, when I first met you, it was kind of cool. Like, I had just started the podcast, and I was like, I love SWC, and you were like, I love your podcast. I'm like, what? Like, like, I didn't expect.
You're really good.
Yeah, like,
you're really good.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, and like we built a friendship, and like you guys have been, the longest sponsor of the show, and over the years too, like when I first met you, I just was like, this guy probably only fishes,
Yeah.
I was like, this guy probably wakes up every day.
Yeah, fishes. So we ate all.
And then like I start learning about like, some of the stuff that you've come into recently, and then, like you love your family, like I'll be talking to you on the phone. You'll be like, I'm going to a softball game, and then you also have like a love for foosball, which, I promise you we could talk about your love for foosball. Yeah. Which has come up numerous times, but like,
well, it's a part of my life.
Yeah. I mean, like, how have you managed, like, do you feel like a lot of people who are just like, what's your response to somebody who says you can't be legit unless you're just fully focused on?
Yeah. I don't care. Like, I don't live my life for other people. I live my life for God. And like, I just don't, it's not, everyone cares a little bit about what people think about them. I mean, I'm pretty good at not really caring about what people think, but like the things that bring me happiness, like internal happiness and fulfillment, like they all start with F. So it's family, fishing, foosball, friends, it's like those
finding birds.
That's right. But like, yeah, the foosball thing's funny because, I never played when I was younger. I didn't know, and nobody knows. When I tell them I play foosball, everyone laughs at me. Like, oh, okay, yeah, or I'll beat you. And it's like,
I remember at ICAST, like, as you're like, I'm like, I came to you, and at the time, I felt like I was pretty good at foosball.
Sure,
like,
without ever playing up here.
Well, I mean, I could play, but I had never played against somebody that like actually was serious about it. And then like within like 5 seconds of the ball being on the board, like you like.
Yeah,
got a point, and then you were like, "Dude, we're not going to play."
Yeah,
like this is a. But I mean, sorry to interject.
No, it's all right.
A lot of people laugh because they think foosball is a game for teenagers,
right? And I get it. It used to be popular in the 70s. The quick story is Pac-Man came out, and overnight the whole industry died because the footprint in the arcades for Pac-Man they don't really have to take care of, and it just brings in money. So the whole industry died, but. Foosball's so weird in that it's so bizarre. Like I just got invited this Friday night, I got invited to a multiple world champions house, who's bringing the best player in the world there, who's one of his best friends who's been traveling in Saudi Arabia, and they're bringing Saudi Arabian foosball players. And like, I'm invited to go play with them. That's like playing with Michael Jordan, basketball. Like, oh, I just started playing basketball. Now I play with Michael Jordan every Tuesday. That's kind of how foosball is, and it's really weird. It's a discipline. So it's such a discipline that like 20-year players are still trying to figure out the game. Like very finite details of the game. And I think you could equate it to the guys that are ate up with tarpon, like Andy Mill, and these guys that it's their whole life still. They're still out there trying. They're very, very close. Or a guitarist. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm sure I could play that guitar, and then they try and nothing sounds right. That's kind of how foosball is. It's like you really got to put a lot of time in it, and it's a really serious game. It's super fun and competitive. I think that my life path has definitely benefited from it. Other than when I get home from fishing and then I tell the wife I want to go play foosball, she's
there's a time management part
like,
for sure.
Yeah, she's like, you have too many of your own personal hobbies.
Yeah. A lot of guys that I've met along the way that I find, to be like really enjoyable to be around in fishing tend to have, whether it's painting or, we were just with Paul Puckett in Brunswick, Georgia, which like Paul's like that. Like Paul's such a fun, kind of colorful person to be around. And he's good at guitar and he's good at, painting, and he's funny as all get out. He's got a cool podcast. Like, so I think like, there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of interesting people. Like you just happen to, birding seems to be one that a lot of people like, they just, I don't know what it is. Like if it's epigenetics where like all of a sudden this gene gets triggered with,
I don't know,
like fascination of birds.
It
like,
seems like it. Cause
maybe like 2,000 years ago, old men were just like, and today I care about birds.
Back in those fishing forum days, Wes is actually one of the guys that was on that forum. And I remember him being a birder back then. Like a few, you'd see like, oh, went birding. And I was like, that sounds stupid. Like, what are they doing? Going looking at birds? Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I literally thought that 10 years ago,
I mean, my dad's going through it. He's late.
Yeah, he said he's based on something.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think he's late on it.
About the apps.
But I think too, like, I think everybody that I've been around that loves fishing loves nature.
Yeah.
And how that manifests in, how scientific or whatever you want to get, like they have a holistic appreciation. Because if you don't love doing it and you don't love being out in it and you can't just enjoy like the days that might be a little scratchy, you're kind of scratching it out, but you're still enjoying what you get to see and what is there. Like, I feel like you just give up and move on to something else, like it's hard. It's a long, hard road if you don't enjoy it.
It's different for everyone. Cause you go on, like I'll go on these trips and the guy that caught a great fish, but somebody caught a bigger one that day, in the group, they just, they don't, it seems like they didn't have a good time all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, we say it. I mean, we've had a couple times at Drifter where like if you didn't have a good time doing this, like we're not the group for you. Because if you don't have a good time with doing this, then you're probably not somebody we want to be around. Because all right, rapid fire questions.
Let's go.
I had people submit them on social media.
Okay.
The first one was somebody wanted to know what beard products you use.
So none.
No products.
I haven't. No. I mean,
if I peeked in your bathroom bag, I would.
Yeah, I have beard oils. Because,
okay,
but hold on, I don't use them. That's like a gift thing that people give you or whatever.
All right.
And then when I get my beard trimmed by my wife's friend Aya, she puts stuff in it that's like,
how often do you get a trim?
Every 8 weeks maybe or so, like every 2 months, and that's it. I don't really ever put anything in it, but I brush it. I brush it.
Beard dandruff. Do you have problems with that?
No, yeah, probably. I don't know. A little bit, not bad. Like, yeah.
I struggle with that. It's like probably TMI, but
yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to keep everything.
The
like,
beard.
I don't even have a big beard right now. Like
the beard's funny because I had a beard, before a lot of people. They weren't popular when I had it, and I loved that. And then I don't know, what was it, like 2016 or 17? Like everyone had a beard, and
I don't know if beards are popular now though. So if it makes you feel
like everyone has them, yeah. I mean,
if it makes you feel any better, I think I don't know. I feel like mustaches are popular now.
Yeah, mustaches are awesome, but like I want to shave it off all the time. But at this point, it's almost like just my identity, and I'm in my 40s, and it's just kind of
it's scary to not know like what type of jawline is.
Sometimes, yeah. But the other thing is, Jen's just like, no, and then my kids are like, no, you're not shaving. Yeah. And now my 14-year-old son, Davin, he's had a mustache for 2 years, and Jen's always trying to chase him with a razor. She does it, I don't know, once a month. She's like, come here, pollito. We're going to get that. And he's like, no, he loves his mustache. And I think it's so cool because it fits his personality so well. So,
Yeah, like a lot of times when you're young too, like you think like, no, if I just keep growing it, it'll thicken, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, his is not. I mean, to me, his looks cool, man. He looks like a Spanish painter or something.
I was just more so thinking about young guys like when they first started growing it. It's like and they're like it's gonna get longer, but it's like we have to talk about like length, but we have to talk about thick.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. Well, that's a good question.
So I don't use any, but if I were to use some, I would use probably like I don't know what the process would be, but a beef tallow or a coconut oil or something. That would be it. I wouldn't.
If I were to use them, I feel like it's a bad endorsement of.
Well, I'm just saying I probably should use them. I don't
know. Your beard looks good. Like the person asked because they wanted to know. The answer is
brush. I mean, I brush it a lot.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm driving, I'm brushing my beard pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're not spending $80 trying to keep your.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. There's a budget piece to that.
But good for that guy that does.
This is a philosophical question somebody submitted. But I'm curious your thoughts on it. Do fish see water?
Do you see air? Like we don't see air, so no. I would say no. They would only see debris going through the water on currents or whatever. So
yeah,
that's a good question, but I don't.
It can be species oriented.
Which fish would see water?
I think that a trout that maybe comes up to the top, like has an understanding of where like the water ends in the air. Like they see the water line. They might guess they're
tarpon or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they see the water...
When they're in the water, they don't see the water.
Anything...
They see the debris just like we would see a dust storm.
Yeah. But they see it if they're looking up. Like if you're like... if you're catching a fish on top water, like that fish is... I think they see the water line.
They feel the surface line.
The surface line.
Yeah. Let them know if they do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think, people can submit their responses to that if they want to. What's the number one destination that you haven't gone?
Ooh. Number one, like Australia, maybe.
Interesting.
Australia or Yemen. Like Yemen, the fishing looks so lit. Like
how much different would that be from Oman?
So Yemen has bones, and they have those.
Really?
Oh yeah, they have big bones.
I
mean, Oman has them, but they're deep. They don't ever get up in the shallows, really. That they know of. So, but Yemen has they have so many different cool fish, and it's not far. But there's been so much political turmoil there over the last 20 years or so. It's like not many people have fished it, but Red Sea, Yemen, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Seychelles.
Yeah, I would love to go to Seychelles, but
what was that? A pelican?
I don't know.
And I don't know when I'm embarrassed.
I don't know if that was a bird or so. That was a bird. I'm totally embarrassed. Maybe a great blue heron or a great white heron. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I don't think there is a great white heron, but
birding is my passion.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what were we talking about? Best.
I just was surprised that you like Seychelles was in the line.
Oh yeah, just because it seems like a commercial operation, somewhat. Like everyone spends a bunch of money to go there, but the fish in there, obviously, it looks amazing. I mean, pick any little reefy spot that has deep water around it that you can look at Google Maps. I want to go to that reef, like all of them. So yeah.
What's your number one advice if you could go back to like advice to a young person who's wanting to have some sort of job in the industry, the fishing industry, if you want to use that term?
That's super tough. I don't know. I don't know. The reason I did close was because I was like, there's no way I could guide people after that 63 people post that, where I read through the year of who I fished with. I was like, there's no way I could guide. So, I don't know, find your way, I guess. You could, you got the videographers out there, you got all those people, but every company needs an accountant in the fishing world, so that's probably not a bad avenue either. I would say, find what your strengths are. Like I knew I was kind of always into clothes and logos and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I did the clothes thing. So it was like, find my strengths in that, and the fishing industry is really such a cool industry. So there's a million things you could do, marketing is a huge thing. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like too, like, a lot of people that I've met, and haven't been doing this for half the length that you have, but a lot of people like get into it and they do it because they want to fish a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like, you need to love the work. Like,
I didn't-
whatever it is that you're doing, like, because there's a lot of people who work for companies that, you know, like, if you really want to fish a lot, like, you might want to consider being a firefighter.
I was 8 years in before I started fishing a lot from SWC. I mean, I tried to fish when I could, when I had a 9-to-5 job, but, you know, I thought, okay, now I want to be a fisherman, you know, in the industry. I got this clothing company and it's going to bring all this opportunity to fish. Well, that took so long to come to fruition, you know? So, yeah.
Well, man, like, the last one that I'll leave is, you know, I haven't asked this question in a long time, and I feel like I haven't interviewed you in a long time. So I think I'll bring it back. If you could put one thing on a billboard for everybody to see on the way to the boat, you know, on the way to the water, what would it be?
One thing, tough one. I mean, two things, like, have fun and pick up your trash. Like, I don't,
That'd be a great billboard.
yeah, have fun, pick up your trash, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's my thing. Cause those are the two things that, like, you know, just anyone that sees it, remember to have fun and remember to pick up your trash. That's it. Like, and I think, you know, most people that are out there fishing, I would say most of them, the majority of them are not people leaving trash anyways, but, you know, still a good message.
For sure. Yeah, leave it better. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. I'm excited. I'm sure we'll be together soon enough. We've had a good run.
Every other week we run
Yeah,
each other.
we've been having a good run. So I'm excited, man. Vince, I'm so grateful for you and, you know, you and Jen and Skinny Water's belief in me from the very beginning, and the support that you guys have given me, and the friendship, man. So it's been good to hang out. I'm excited to do more down the road. Thanks for sharing. We covered a wide gauntlet today, from Mexico to mental health to foosball. But thank you for sharing. And, you know, I know that just personally, people around me that have been impacted by your willingness to be real with people about stuff in your life. So thank you for doing that. And I'm excited to fish together soon.
Yeah, I am too. Thanks, Hunter. You know, you're a huge part of SWC now. You know, we're so proud to have you as our kind of like main source of, I guess, media and podcasting and stuff like that. You do such a good job. And I just want to, like, leave it, if anyone out there is listening and you have, you know, you want to talk about solutions for your mental health or stuff like that, like, I'm definitely open to talking to you. So just hit me up on Messenger or whatever. Probably not Skinny Water Culture Messenger, but like Stegura on Instagram and then on Facebook. You know, get a hold of me, ask me questions. I don't mind talking. I literally, every time that post comes up, I get put in a situation where I can help people. So, and that's why I did it. So just feel free to reach out. Thanks.
For sure, man. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you, Vince.